As you know, DHCP have a DORA process by which any host take a IP address or default gateway or DNS address. For example, this is our router. In DHCP configuration, we create a pool, or you can say IP pool. This IP pool have some IP addresses or a network, for example, /24. It means these pool have this network. These pool have this network, and this network have 253 valid IP addresses. So this pool have 253 valid IP addresses. If a PC or a host want to connect, it sends a discovery broadcast packet via DORA process. When a discovery packet received by this router, this sends an IP address from this pool to this PC, and another PC, if another PC want to connect, again DORA process take place and R1 sends an IP address from this pool. For example, at the beginning 253 valid IP addresses in this pool of R1. R1 give IP address to this host and this host also. R1 have 252 IP addresses in its pool. And if this PC disconnects to the network, then this IP that is configured for this host is also, this IP is free, and this IP is sent to the pool again. So now after disconnecting this PC, pool have 253 IP addresses. So now other 253 host can connect via this router. For example, this is R1. I am having a pool that name is Cisco. This pool have a IP address 10.0.0.0/24. This is the pool. It means it have 253 valid IP address. It means by this router we can connect 253 IP addresses only, or we can connect 253 hosts only. Now move to the configuration part. Just use a router. I'm using this router. Here I'm using a switch. Sorry. Here I'm using a switch. And this is my host. Go to your CLI mode of the router. Now go to enable mode, then configuration mode. Now the command for creating a pool of IP addresses on the router, the command is IP DHCP pool and the pool name. Here I am using Cisco as a pool name. You can use any name like XYZ or any name that you want. I am using Cisco as a pool name. Just press enter. Now we need to introduce the network from where the IP is assigned to the host. I am using here a network, the network command. Now the network is 255.255. Sorry, the network is 10.0.0.0, and I am using CIDR as 24. So I am using subnet mask as 255.255.255.0. Press enter. This network is configured in this particular DHCP pool. That name is Cisco. After giving the IP address to the host, we need to give a default gateway or a DNS server address. For giving the default gateway, the command is default router 10.0.0.1, the address of your default gateway. Here I am using 10.0.0.1 as a default gateway. Press enter. Now if you want to give a DNS server, then use this command DNS server. I am using this DNS server. This is my DNS server. These all three things. The first thing is IP address that belongs to this network. The second thing is default gateway, that is 10.0.0.1, and the DNS server, that is 10.0.0.1, are configured to every host that enables DHCP on it. Now this is configuration of DHCP pool. Now connect a host via a cable. I'm connecting this host to the router. Now open your host IP address. Here you can find this is by default statically configured, but I am using DHCP, so I am choose DHCP. Now the DORA process take place, but you can check here DHCP failed. Why DHCP failed? Let's discuss about it. Here this is the port. This port is shut down, so this port is not usable by this router, so we need to configure this port also. Go to your interface, give an IP address of the same network. IP address 10.0.0.1 255.255.255.0. I am using this IP address because I am configuring this IP address as a default gateway. If any host want to go default gateway, then host hit or go to the router only. So I am using this IP address here. Now no shut this port. Now you can check here. Now send again DORA request. It is requesting for IP address. DHCP failed again. Now checking the issue. The problem is ARP is here. ARPs drop the first packet. So wait for some time and then again send DHCP request. Now you can send DHCP request again. Now you can see here this host configured with the IP address and subnet mask and default gateway and DNS server that is configured on our Cisco pool. Now the next command for DHCP is you can exclude an address. For example, I want to add address. It means this address is not given or this address is not configured to any host. For example, in this case, I am excluding an address that is 10.0.0.2.3 also, .4 also till .10. I'm excluding these address. I don't want to give these address to any host. So I'm excluding this address in our pool. For excluding the addresses, go to your configuration mode and just type a command. The command for excluding address is IP DHCP exclude address. Now give the range, or you can give a single IP address also. This is the command for giving the single IP address, and if you want to give multiple IP addresses just or a range, then just give 10.0.0.10. By this command, DHCP server exclude IP address from this to this. Now for checking this IP address is excluded or not, I'm using a different host. Now I'm connecting this host via switch to the router. Now open your host, go to the desktop and IP configuration. Just here the static is by default I'm using DHCP here. This host is requesting for DHCP. DHCP is failed here. Because HTTP run here, you can check this light is not blinking at that time. Now this is blinking. It means HTTP take place and HTTP perform its task. Now you can check IP address is assigned subnet mask default gateway and DNS server also. But you can check this PC have 10.0.0.2 IP address. So the next PC need to take 10.0.0.3, but in this case this PC takes 10.0.0.11 because I'm excluding the address till dot 10. So this PC configured with dot 11. This is the DHCP server, and now I want to configure a router as a DHCP client. Then connect the router with this switch. So we need to give a command for taking IP address from DHCP. Till now we are giving IP address manually to every port of the router. But we can use DHCP server for configuring router's port also. For configuring router's port as a DHCP client, just go to that port interface FA0/0, press enter. Now you need to give IP address DHCP. Via DHCP, just type IP address then DHCP. Press enter. Now this particular port takes IP address from the DHCP. Now you can check do IP interface brief. Do show IP interface brief. This is unassigned because it takes some time. This is taking some time because this port is shutting down. I'm not shutting this port. Now wait for some time and check the IP addresses. Now check again. Do show IP interface brief. Here you can see this particular interface is taking an IP address from DHCP. The method is DHCP. If you're using statically, if you're giving a static IP, then you find here manual. But in case of DHCP, you find here DHCP. By this way, you can configure router also from DHCP. This is all about DHCP.